Hello everyone, my name is Ivo and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. Today we're not going to be doing any cooking, however, we are going to be talking about balsamic vinegar. Did you know that there's an actual certified rating system for balsamic vinegar? Well, today folks, we're going to talk about the different types of balsamic vinegars. We're going to talk about the rating system for balsamic vinegars and what the differences are between them. And we're also going to do some pouring and a little bit of a taste test. So at the end of the episode, I'm hoping that this will help guide you make the right decision when it comes to picking up your next bottle of balsamic vinegar. Let's get started right now. The first balsamic vinegar we're going to talk about, which happens to be the best, I do not have a bottle here right now, and that is called traditional balsamic vinegar of Modena. Modena is in Italy. The balsamic vinegar comes from Modena, Italy. Now, the word traditional is key because the traditional balsamic vinegar is made with one ingredient only, grape must. So when you look at ingredients, all you see is grape must. You might see sulfites too, but basically the only ingredient is grape must. And what they do, what is grape must? They'll take grapes, crush them, put them in a vat. So now they're sitting in a container with the grapes themselves crushed in all their juices and the skins. And what they'll do is they'll cook it, and they'll cook it down. So what happens is it condenses down, and as it condenses, it changes color, it thickens, and it develops an intense flavor. From there, they'll take that traditional balsamic vinegar and they'll put it into barrels, and it will be barrel aged for at least 12 years, up to 50 years. That's why it's so expensive. First of all, you're losing a lot of volume during the condensing process. Plus you're aging it for such a long time, for anywhere from 12 years to 50 years. So it's a very, very pricey option. When you see it, if you happen to see it in the store, it's typically got a long neck like this, but then the base is a round, it's more of a rounded base to it, almost like a baseball, a softball. And that's typically the bottles that they're found in. So now let's talk about the balsamic vinegars that most of us buy on a day-to-day basis. And that is called balsamic vinegar of Modena. Notice the word traditional is not included. It's just called balsamic vinegar of Modena. And that is the balsamic vinegar that has the rating system. And it's different from traditional because the ingredients are different. In fact, what they do with this balsamic vinegar is they actually cut it with wine vinegar. So if you look at the ingredients, it'll say grape must, but it'll also say wine vinegar. And thirdly, it might even say caramel coloring. Some companies add a caramel coloring to try to get that same color that you would get from the traditional balsamic vinegar. So those are the main differences between the two, traditional and the ones that we buy basically every day. The word traditional is not there and the ingredients are different. Now, the rating system. Let me zoom in so you can see the rating system on these bottles, and I'm going to explain to you how that works. Okay, so let's just key in on these two bottles here, and before we begin, the system for the rating is like we're familiar with motels. For example, you have a 3-star motel or a 5-star motel. 5-star is better than 3-star. Same sort of logic with the balsamic vinegar, except they don't use stars, they use leaves. And they don't go up to 5, they only go up to 4 leaves. So from 1 to 4. So if you look at this bottle, you scroll down here, right down here, there's 1 leaf. It's got 1. This one, if you look up here, different spot, but they have 4 leaves. They're hard to see because they're darker, but there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 leaves right there. So there are some differences between the two. A 1 leaf is aged less than a 4 leaf. The other issue is a 1 leaf balsamic vinegar has more wine vinegar in it than it does grape must, whereas a 4 leaf has less wine vinegar in it and more grape must. So that is a huge difference. The other thing is, because of that difference, a 1 leaf balsamic is going to be lighter in body, lighter in flavor. A 4 leaf is going to be much more full-bodied, more robust, and a lot more flavor in a 4 leaf balsamic. So basically, generally speaking, the higher the leaves, the better the quality of the balsamic vinegar. And it also, as it goes up in leaves, it also goes up in levels of sweetness because, again, you have less wine vinegar. In fact, if you look at the back, you might not be able to see it, but if I look at the ingredients in the back here, the very first ingredient on this 1 leaf bottle is wine vinegar. The second one is concentrated grape must. So this one, first ingredient is wine vinegar. It has more wine vinegar in here than it does grape must. This one, on the other hand, the first ingredient is concentrated grape must. So this one, right off the bat, has got more grape must in it than it has wine vinegar. So you're getting closer to the traditional balsamic vinegar with this bottle than you are with that bottle. Now, not to complicate things, I'm going to shift over to the bottle right beside. Okay, so now that we understand the rating system, some bottles of balsamic are not rated. They will not have any leaves on them. Chances are, if it's not rated, it's a 1 leaf. So just keep that in mind. And you could always tell by turning the bottle around and look at the ingredients. If the first ingredient is wine vinegar, you know right off the bat it's going to be a 1 leaf rating. So what I want to show you though, this other bottle, not to confuse things, but this company, Punti, has been around since 1787. Yes, they know how to make balsamic vinegar. They though, however, they have their own rating system. They haven't adopted the leaf system. They have their own. And if you look along the bottom here, you'll see 3 categories. There's 3 hourglasses here. There are 3 clusters of grapes here. And then there are 3 letters, the letter D, 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 and D. And each one of those means something different. It's going to be very similar to the leaf system, which, by the way, the leaf system is the only certified system for balsamic vinegar. So they kind of mimic it. So if you look here, this one has 1 hourglass that's filled in and 2 empty, so 1 out of 3. So basically what that means is that this one has less aging. So the hourglass represents aging. So 1 hourglass means less aging, 3 hourglasses more aging. Then we move over to the bunches of the grapes. And they have here 3 bunches of grapes, but only 1 bunch is colored in. This one represents your grape must. So again, 1 bunch means very little grape must. 3 bunches would mean a lot of grape must. So this one only has 1, which means the main ingredient here is going to be wine vinegar. It'll have less grape must in it. And then the D, quite simply, stands for density. It only has 1 D, so again, it's going to be lighter in body. And if it had 3 Ds, it would be much more denser than a 1D. So they have their own rating system, and I just wanted to explain that to you in case you happen to see it in the store, because that particular brand is very popular and they've been around forever. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, in this case, a 1 hourglass or a 1 grape, or in this case, a 1 leaf. They're all very, very good. It's just you're getting more wine vinegar than you are balsamic with the lower rating. So that's the key there. And some people like the lighter bodied 1 leaf vinegars more so than a 4 leaf. And that's perfectly fine, but it's just important to know what you're getting. Now let's talk about the balsamic glaze. Basically, a balsamic glaze is balsamic vinegar that has been cooked down and condensed, and a lot of times they'll actually even add thickening agents to make it thicker, syrupy, more syrupy, thicker than your traditional balsamic. And a lot of times they'll also add sugar or glucose. So you can check the ingredients to see what they've added, but basically it's a very thick, sweet, syrupy kind of balsamic vinegar, which has different uses. It's great, let's say, on ice cream or for putting on fruit or any special touches on any special dishes. For example, I love to use balsamic glaze on a caprese salad, for example, and when I want a treat, I actually add it, I drizzle it all over my pizza. Yes, right over a pizza. Amazing flavor. Okay, speaking of flavor, let's pour some of these out and take a look at some of the different textures, and let's do some tasting. Balsamic vinegar, let's open that one up. And you could see there it has a really dark flavor. Slightly thickened. This one, let's try now, is the one leaf. So the one leaf, already you could see, is lighter brown in color compared to this one. This one is much darker, again, because this has more wine vinegar in it than it does grape must. Okay, and since this one's opened and this one's not, I'll open this one here, which is a glaze. And this one, as you can see, look at that. That is just really thick, syrupy, and dark. So if I look at the ingredients here, ingredients: concentrated grape juice, balsamic vinegar of Modena. What else do we have here? Concentrated grape must, glucose, fructose, syrup, color, modified cornstarch. So there's a lot of different ingredients in this one compared to even the other regular balsamics, and you can see the difference. So I'm going to actually do a little taste test here with these three and see if I'm going to taste the difference between the three. But I think you can really see the difference here. I'm going to zoom in on that. The one on the left is the one leaf, the one on the right is the four leaf, and it's much darker. All right, let's do the taste test. Let's start with the one leaf. And I did bring some bread, but I'm going to actually sample this, as in drink it. It's actually very good, but it does taste more wine vinegary than it does balsamic-y. It's not really that sweet. It's more vinegary, less sweetness. Let's try the four leaf. Much darker. I'm going to say smoother, sweeter, and definitely much more flavor and a little bit thicker, slightly. For me, much, much better the four leaf as compared to the one leaf. Huge difference. Now, I'm going to do it. My grandkids love to take bread and dip it in olive oil and balsamic. They love that. So the glaze, I'm going to actually put on a piece of bread. And again, this I wouldn't put on a salad. You could drizzle a little on a salad if you wanted it really sweet, but the glaze is exactly that. Very sweet, very rich. Keep in mind it has other ingredients mixed in there, but the end result is actually very, very, very good. And like I said, I like to use it on different foods. It's really good. But for my day-to-day salads, four leaf balsamic vinegar, that's the one. That's my go-to every single time. So, folks, today, again, was not intended to be a course, but I hope that maybe you've picked up a tip or two in today's episode. And by all means, if you have, drop me a line. Let me know what you knew about balsamic or what you didn't know. I'd love to hear from you. I want to thank you for spending time with me today on Cooking with the Koyas. And until next time, buon appetito. One leaf or four leaf? Let's go with four. So tasty.